Ladies and gentlemen, it's week one, NFL Sunday. We're back for you, breaking down the whole week one slate here on this beautiful NFL Sunday. Shane, what's going on?
Feels good to be back.
Feels great to be back. We're gonna hop right into it. First things first. Before we start, let's go over some money report here, some sharp money action. What's sharp? What's not? What's public like? What they don't like? As we get into week one, we're gonna see public favorites, public dogs. Stay away from those, of course. And to get into like what's sharp money, what's not sharp money. Sharp money is when you see more money but less bets on a certain game, certain total, certain spread. So, for example, as we hop into these games, let's hop right into this first one. Texans take on the Baltimore Ravens in week one here. Obviously, Lamar, huge contract, huge expectations coming into today. Um, Looking at money percentages, it's all Ravens at this point, which we understand why. CJ Stroud's first game. Ravens have huge expectations, but we do see some sharp money coming in on the Ravens at -9, -9.5, about a 10% sharp differential, 55% of the money, 45% of the bets on Baltimore. Shane, any chance the Texans put a fight here today?
If the Ravens just like step off the gas, I think that's the only way that they could be in there. But I mean, Ravens in week one have won 5 of the last 6 week one games by 15 points or more, so that they're used to just dominating in week one. No Mark Andrews, but I don't think it's going to be that much of an issue, especially because they have Isaiah Likely backing him up. New look offense, rookie quarterback going against the Ravens defense is probably the worst draw you could have in your debut, going to Baltimore playing the
Yeah.
Ravens. Um, yeah, it's probably not going to look good for the Texans this week.
Yeah, I bet we see some shell shock for the rookie here. Just Lamar, man, just dominates in these spots. 7-1-1 ATS when favored by more than a touchdown versus AFC opponents. It's hard for me to pick a rookie quarterback in these spots, especially week one, right out the gate. You're facing a defense like Baltimore. You're facing a head coach and Jim Harbaugh and a mobile quarterback who's probably going to tear this defense up um, in week one. So I'm gonna lean the Ravens here. It's hard for me to lay a -9.5 in week one.
Yeah.
Because everyone's rusty. You're gonna see rust today with all these teams, and if we don't, I'll be surprised. But I like the total here. Um, you know, Last year when spreads were higher than 9.5, the under hit at a 60% clip last year. Under right now is sitting at 43.5 on some books, 43 in the other. Public leaning towards the over 43 with almost 70% of the money and 70% of the bets on the over. So for me, this game, the safe option for me is definitely the under total of 43.5. Baltimore's going to be in a lot of parlays today, which is expected. They're going to win, so put it in your parlay. Good parlay piece, but other than that, I can't really lay the 9.5 week one. So
No.
all right, moving on. Next game we got the Vikings. Baker Mayfield taking on Captain Kirk in Minnesota. Let's look at
What a
numbers real
battle.
quick. Tampa Bay getting a lot of public love today on the spread. Plus 5.5, getting 80% of the money, 80% of the bets. Public loves Baker here in week one. Shane, do you?
Yeah, I mean, both these defenses are going to be. This is going to be a shootout game. I feel like we both agree on that. This is the best set of weapons Baker's had. I mean, he's got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. You have Rashad White in the backfield. Whatever you think about him, you have Flores calling the defense now for the Vikings, but it's still going to probably be in shambles at least to start. No Marcus Davenport, who they just brought in. Pat Pete's gone. I like Bucks covering, but I still feel like the Vikings have too much on offense for the Bucks to handle. So Bucks covered, Vikings win is my stance on this game.
It's tough, man. This Minnesota defense can be bottom three in the league for most of the year, metrics wise. It's tough for me. Again, you're laying 5.5 here with a team who might put up 28 but might give up 30. So um, it again, you got Baker Mayfield on the other side. Of what is he? No one really knows right now. They have solid weapons on the offensive side of the ball. Two guys in Godwin and Mike Evans. Mike Evans now playing for a contract year, so look for him to ball out. Just two defenses who I think are going to struggle this year. So I lean the total here. I'm going to lean the over here at 45.5. It is a public side, 84% of the money, 77% of the bets, and the over at 45.5, 46 on BetGM. But I mean, both. I think Minnesota's going to struggle today.
I
Just
don't
just
know.
hold.
1 o'clock. 1 o'clock. Kirk Cousins. That's the monster.
Well, I know. I think he's gonna put up points. It's just can their defense hold them down, and I can't put money on them holding this offense down today. So yeah, I lean the over 45.5 on this one. Not an official play for me, but um, a 5.5 point spread. You think touchdown game, so definitely some points here for Minnesota. So I think Tampa Bay can clean up the rest. So lean the over here of 45.5. All right, moving right along here. Next game, maybe the best game of the 1 o'clock slate. Browns Bengals come in. Now, obviously, Bengals, one of the Super Bowl favorites. Cleveland coming into Deshaun Watson year two. Um, the public is just loving Cleveland today.
Can you blame
Seventy-eight
them?
percent, 78% of the money, 95% of the bets on +2 today. I know Shane, you like Cleveland. You like Cleveland. I'm totally off the side of this game. I do lean the dog here as a home dog. Um, what do you got, dude? It's tough.
I mean, since Joe Burrow has been drafted by the Bengals, the Browns are 5-1 against the Bengals, and Joe Burrow's 1-4 against the Browns. Bengals typically start off slow. We saw what happened with them last year against the Steelers. Burrow threw 4 picks in week one. And he's coming off of that calf injury. He may not be able to fully move around in the pocket going against a strong defensive line. Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith. Um, I think the I don't think the Browns are a playoff team, but I think they're gonna give a lot of teams problems this year. And again, being a home dog in a divisional game here, it just seems like the side to take for week one, the most unpredictable week of the year.
No, I can see that for sure. I mean, I to be honest, with you, I think Joe's injury is going to linger throughout the year. Does it affect him today? I don't know. We'll see. But it is part of your capping the injuries, and he's definitely not 100%. They might say he's 100%, but the calf injury is going to be lingering all year, which could he'll probably sit a couple games when they play lesser opponents. We'll see how that affects them throughout the year, but um, it's tough for me to go against him in this spot. Obviously, they've had struggles in week one. Um, I think it's gonna be a dogfight. I think it's gonna be a low scoring dogfight where maybe a last second field goal decides the game. I'm gonna go under the total here. I'm gonna go under of the 47.5 total. You can find that at BetGM. I just think it's too big of a line here. I see like a 23-20 game, 24-21 game. I don't see too many explosive plays, just because I think both defenses lock up in a big divisional game. So I'm gonna lean the total here and take the under.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next game, another great game. Niners pull into Pittsburgh. This line sits at 2.5. Some places it's at 2. Um, Money for this one coming in. Again, a real public dog here, a public darling. Pittsburgh at 2.5 is getting 90% of the money, 90% of the bets. Folks are probably going to need San Fran in this one, surprisingly. And the line's been jumping back and forth from 2.5.
All the numbers say to take the Steelers here. Mike Tomlin as a home dog, 15-4-3 ATS and 13-9 straight up. TJ Watt's fully healthy. Steelers with TJ Watt, 56-26-2. Um, the Niners are another team that's like a second half of the season team. They usually start off slow. They lost to the Bears in week one last year. It wasn't a monsoon, but I mean, they still lost to the team with the worst record in the NFL. Um, Nick Bosa hasn't been fully in practice, whatnot, because he was dealing with the contract situation. He did sign it, but who knows if a couple days is going to be enough to get ready to play Pittsburgh. The offensive line for the Niners is weaker this year than it was last year. They lost McGlinchey, so TJ Watt might have a field day today.
Again, just a ground and pound, low scoring, week one, kind of boring game in Pittsburgh. I don't see any way the Steelers can stay in this game without having it that way. A defensive battle. Um, I love Tom as a home dog. Like Shane said, he's even better at home. when the line is short. He's 7-2 ATS at home when the line's below 3. Shanahan comes in 4-6 ATS as a head coach for the Niners when he's a favorite of less than 3. So I give the advantage here to Pittsburgh. If you're getting 2.5, getting 2, just lay the money line here. I think they win outright in a dogfight. Again, these early 1 o'clock games are going to be slow, I think. So I lean Pittsburgh here. Not easily, but man, I this Pittsburgh team ready to go. I think they're fired up. Kenny Pickett year 2, who I'm a fan of. Arm wise, and he can run a little bit. And then Kyle Shanahan, right, going into Pittsburgh week 1 with just high expectations, huge expectations this year, and you're only giving them 2.5. Don't seem right. I'm gonna go a weird way here. I'm gonna take Pittsburgh with the points at +2, 2.5 in some books.
Yep.
All right, another divisional battle coming into today. Jaguars taking on the Colts. Money here, sharp money action here on the Jags. 92% of the money, but only about 50% of the bets on Jacksonville covering the 4.5. This line has jumped all around the board: 5.5, 5, 4.5. Some places at 4. I'm gonna guess it's gonna drop to 4 by game time, just to how the line is trending. If you know the Colts, and I know trends don't mean everything. Last 15 years, the Colts have covered 1 week 1 spread. Okay. Last year they tied. That's the 1. And they haven't beaten or covered against a divisional opponent in week 1 since 2007.
The Jaguars
It's tough.
have not won in Indy since 2000. Jaguars have not won in Indy since 2017.
That's tough. I mean, trends don't mean everything. It's funny how there's stuff on both sides. I can't bet on a rookie quarterback in week 1. I can't do it, especially with a 4.5 point spread in this one. So I'm gonna lean Jacksonville. Don't love it. Don't like it at all, really, to be honest with you. But I just can't take week 1 rookie quarterbacks. Shane, I think it was you who told me, what was the last quarterback to win in week 1?
This is a part of my reasoning for why I picked the Colts to win. If you think David Carr, out of all people, would be the person that has, well, he was the last first overall pick to win week 1.
I thought it was first
number 1
pick.
No, it's first number 1 overall.
Okay, first number 1 pick
quarterback. But is there a game plan to Anthony Richardson? Like, he hasn't played in the NFL yet. There is not a game plan. He has a good coach to help him. He has the perfect coach for him, I think, in Shane Steichen. Jaguars defense is not all that. It's week 1, unpredictability. I'm home dog. I'm taking the Colts. And I'm a big Trevor Lawrence guy. Trevor Lawrence is my pick for MVP. And I'm taking the Colts to win this week.
Oh, I get it, man. Home dogs of +3.5 or more last year hit at more than 60% on the ATS line. So I get it, man. I absolutely get it. It's just, again, hard for me to put my money on a guy, Richardson, who might be the most unknown of a quarterback heading into his first start, especially as a rookie, since, I don't know, God knows when. But he's so unpredictable and so that you cannot plan for this guy, which is good and bad, I guess. 1, we don't know what he is. 2, the defense doesn't know what he is either. But it's hard for me to take a rookie quarterback in week 1 against a solid Jacksonville team who has high expectations again this year. But divisional dogs at +3.5, I kind of have to go with you here and take the points. Don't love it, but I can't put my money where my mouth is here. I'm gonna take Jacksonville -4.5, and hope this Jacksonville team can beat this rookie by at least 7 points or more. So, all right, making progress here. Titans Saints. One of the most interesting games coming into week 1. Obviously, Derek Carr, David Carr's brother, new Saints quarterback. High expectations for this team too, in a kind of a bad division, some might say. Money wise, if I can find it, Titans, another dog that the public loves today at +3, dropping to +2.5 in some books. 86% of the money, 84% of the bets on Titans +3 here.
This is a little sidebar. Taylor Lewan just retired. He just officially announced that he's retiring,
Nice.
which fits in with this because he was a Titan. But both teams have new key offensive parts they're bringing in from the offseason, and DeAndre Hopkins and Derek Carr. Titans defense was atrociously bad against the pass last year, and the Saints team right now is built to pass with Chris Olave and whatever's left of Michael Thomas. I don't. I think the Saints need to win this more. I think because that division is wide open, even though a lot of people are just picking the Saints to win. That like no one really knows who's going to win that division. In the AFC South, it's kind of clear to see that the Jaguars are the better team, but I something is just telling me to take the Saints here, and I don't know if it's just because of the public money thing. Everybody's on the Titans. I'll take the Saints here.
Yeah, it's hard for me to take a public dog, especially in week 1. I had this line as -5 for the Saints, so you get 2-point advantage here for me on the Saints. Not enough to put money on it, but the Titans, man, probably one of the biggest question mark teams coming into this year. What are they? Obviously, Derrick Henry's still here. Health is just a question mark. O-line is a huge question mark for them too, with keeping him healthy. Ryan Tannehill, what is he? This is last year. He's got Levis behind him now for a little bit of pressure for him. Is Burks going to be healthy? Is Hop going to be D-Hop? Just a lot of questions on this team. And Vrabel as a coach has not fared too well in week 1 with his teams. Obviously, last year losing to Shane's Giants in a thriller. And I believe he's 1-4 ATS his last 5 home, openers. So I'm going to go with the Saints here at -3, laying the 3. Saints at home in the Dome should fare pretty well with the home crowd here. And I'm going to lean the quarterback advantage here in Derek Carr. So let's lay the points here with Saints at -3. Dumpster fire alert. Cardinals take on the Washington Commanders. Commanders giving them 7 points, a whole touchdown today. Look at this one. Public all over the dog here. Huge public side here. 86% of the bets are on this Cardinals team. And actually, I'm pretty sure their quarterback is
Josh Dobbs.
Oh, nice. Awesome. Let's hear it.
Hey, he almost led to the Titans to the playoffs last year, if you remember. That came down to the last seconds between them and the Titans.
Great.
Yeah, I'm taking the Cardinals in this game. I just don't trust the Commanders.
I mean, how do you trust either of these teams? Both
bad teams win one. We see bad teams win in week 1. I mean, both these teams, in my opinion, are going to be terrible. But shocks are built for this week because there's no game. What is the game plan for Josh Dobbs? Do they really have one? Because he hasn't been there for that long. They just traded for him. They just announced him as the starter. No Chase Young for the Commanders, I think, is going to be big.
Yeah, we talked about this last night a little bit, but their D-line, their front 7 is still really good.
Their secondary isn't, though. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Their secondary, they allow a lot of yards. I mean, even if it's Josh Dobbs throwing, you still have Hollywood Brown to have to worry about in the deep game. They have rookie Michael Wilson. I think this might be a big James Conner game. I think every game is probably going to be a big James Conner game because he's all they got, kind of. But I just don't believe in Sam Howell. I'm sorry, I'm not a Sam Howell truther. Terry McLaurin's coming into the game shaken up for the Commanders. He just had turf toe. Who knows how much that is going to affect him. It's going to be an ugly game to watch, but you know who wins ugly games? Ugly teams. Give me the Cardinals to cover and to win.
Oh, taking the +7 dog to win. Okay, Shane, I like that. Just gross in general. I can't really back either team here. If you look at the total, money percentages coming into today, it's going to be all under because the public sees 2 bad teams and they say boom, under has to be under. 80% of the money, 88% of the bets. Um, Looking at total here, 38. The question is, are both defenses bad enough to allow these two teams to score? But are both offenses good enough to put up the points in this total? I'm going to go over the 38 total here. I think both defenses kind of get ran out a little bit. I like Sam Howell as a quarterback. I like his weapons in Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel in the wide receiver room. So I'm going to go over 38, and I think it comes down to a last possession of either team, either the last second field goal, last second touchdown. So I think the seven's in order there. But I'm going to lean the over the 38 in the total. I think it's a gross game. Might be, but the gross game, but it might be the most fun game to watch because you know what you're getting with both these defenses. If you like points, I think you'll see some here in this one. So yeah, over 38 in the total, and Shane is taking the 7 with the money line here with the Cardinals. I like that. All right, another rookie showcase here. Panthers taking on Falcons in Bryce Young's Week 1 start.
I mean, we can just bring up the one stat of the last first overall pick that was a quarterback to win in Week 1 was David Carr in 2002. And Frank Reich is the head coach of the Panthers, and he is 0-4-1 in Week 1. Hammer Falcons. Please and thank you.
Amen. Another public dog here, Shane. Carolina getting that 3.5, 71% of the bets, 55% of the money. I can't really disagree with you. You got, the more experience, one more year of quarterback play for Desmond Ridder. You got, I think, the coaching advantage for Atlanta as well. I'm not a huge Frank Reich guy. Better weapons on offense for sure. Defensively, is it kind of even? Front seven maybe goes to the Falcons' way, but both defenses are going to struggle, I think, for the most of the year. Just two bad teams, I think, in this matchup. I'm going to lean the Falcons with you. Go ahead.
Good. Panthers have covered 5 of the last 15 games against the Falcons, and Falcons have won 6 of the last 8.
Solid. Yeah, I'm going to lean the points here with the Falcons. I don't like the hook here at 3.5. If you can buy it down to 3, I'd like that even more. Just the rookie quarterback, man. I can't do it. I hope he does good, but I can't put money on it. I can't do it. Yeah, total here sitting at 39.5. Wow, another low total. Public likes the over here. 80% of the money, 83% of the bets on the over 39.5. Under. That's a tough one. Yeah, I'm gonna say under. I don't like the two young quarterbacks today. I don't like the points here. I think a lot of ground and pound run for both these teams. Bijan's week 1 start. I think it's gonna be a lot of ground and pound. 40 points, man. Damn.
I think it's like 17-10.
Think that low? I was gonna go 21-17, something like that in that aspect of it. But I hope Bryce Young has one hell of a career, but I don't think it starts well today. I cannot put money on week 1 rookie quarterbacks. Just can't do it. All right. Next one in line, we got the Patriots taking on the Eagles here today in New England. Tom Brady game. Shane, what do you got?
Originally, I was all over the Eagles to cover, but then after looking at some things, I have swayed the other direction. I still think the Eagles win this game because of multiple factors, because the Patriots have a history of struggling against mobile quarterbacks. We've seen it. You know that. Injuries to the offensive line, I think, are... Well, you're a Patriots fan, so I gotta... The injuries to the offensive line for the Patriots are going to hurt. Starting right tackle out. Both guards were questionable coming into this game, going against the most deep and strong defensive line in the league. However, Eagles were not good at covering on the road last year in their dominant season. 2-6 ATS on the road last year. And another stat, the Super Bowl loser is 4-19 ATS in week 1.
Wow, little Super Bowl hangover.
So Patriots will keep it close. It'll probably be like a field goal game. But I feel like it's hard not to envisioning the Eagles winning this game.
I can agree. I can agree with that. I hate the whole, Brady's back and this is gonna. The players don't give a fuck about Brady's ceremony. They don't give two shits about him coming back. Mac Jones does not care that Brady is back in New England. He doesn't.
Brady
You know
might
what I
have to
mean?
step into the game.
Like besides the point, Shane. What I'm trying to say is I don't think the players are more pumped up because Brady's back in town for the first time as a Patriot. It's just like not that's not part of my handicapping in this situation for this game. What I can say is the fans will play a part in this, and the fans are going to be pumped the fuck up in this stadium today. Um, 3.5. This line has dropped so much since I saw value in it. My value spot is 4.5, so the value is gone at 3.5. If you're betting the Patriots now, you might as well just bet the money line, in my opinion. If you're gonna bet a 3.5 point line, you're betting them losing on a field goal, and in that case, then you're saying you're in the game to the end. So the value here for me at this point is past money line. Do I love it? No, because we've seen what the Pats do to mobile quarterbacks. We've seen what the Bills have done to the Patriots with Josh Allen getting outside and being a mobile guy. So no, I don't love it at all. What I do think is going to happen though is that this Patriots running back room is going to have a huge day. I think it's going to be bunch of carries for this team. Get it down to 3rd and 5. Let Mac play the slot game with Bourne. And you got Juju now, who's apparently his knee's about to explode. I hate that fucking comment. But he's also another aspect of this offense we haven't seen yet. So I like the pass to slow it down. Keep the ball away from Hurts in that offense as much as they can. And I see a low-scoring, ground and pound, another ugly game in Week 1 in New England. Shane, you said the weather's gonna be kind of shitty today. Rainy, wet.
Yeah, some rain and thunderstorm potential.
So it leads more into an ugly game, and that's the only way the Pats come out with a W here today is an ugly win. So I lean the Patriots here. Take the money line, and let's see what Matt can do against the Eagles defense today. All right. Dolphins taking on the Chargers. Another great game in Week 1. Chargers coming in as 3-point favorites at home against the Dolphins today. Public money is on the Dolphins. Not surprising here. Dolphins were public darlings last year. They're going to be public darlings again this year. Dolphins getting plus 3 in a row, 77% of the money, 83% of the bets on this team. This is a 2022 rematch. Shane of last year, same place. I believe the Dolphins were favored on the road in LA last year. So a little flip-flop in lines. But, Shane, what do you got in this one?
Statistically, based off what happened last year, this isn't going to be a high-scoring game. I think the key to this is going to be the Chargers' run defense, and I don't know if they have any. So
Okay.
I think this might be a big Raheem Mostert day because he's really the only main back for the Dolphins right now with Jeff Wilson out. Yeah, and Devon Achane out. Cordell Patterson just got ruled out for Week 1. I mean, both these teams on paper should be good. On paper, this should be a shootout, but we've seen it already happen and not be a shootout. I'm still leaning the Dolphins to win this game. I think they just have. I think they still have the better offense right now, just because of how explosive they can be. Like they have the one play touchdown potential.
Yep.
The Chargers don't really have that like speed guy down the field. They just drafted Quentin Johnson,
They
but
have big guys, not speedy guys.
He's 4th on their depth chart, so he's not even like a starter right now. You have to deal with Tyreek and Waddle on the field. At some point, one of them's going to have a big play at least this game. It's due to happen.
Last year it happened with Tyreek. It's the only touchdown that Tua threw was the ball to Tyreek. So and Waddle was there too. People don't understand. Like last year, like both these teams were fully healthy, and the total went way under. Chargers ended up winning that game because the defense for LA played out of their minds against Tua. Held Tua to 10 for 28 passing, less than 200 yards in passing yards, and a touchdown. Do I see him playing that bad today? Probably not. Um, but this Chargers team just loaded on offense. Eckler playing for a contract. Mike Williams cleaning out and trying to stay healthy the whole year, but they have them healthy in week one, which matters the most. Chargers, I think, have won the last 4 straight week ones, too, I believe. Um, and Herbert, as a short dog at home, has been profitable. On the road, he's not been good at all. So I lean the home team here. I think it's going to be close. I don't see a shootout as people think this game's going to be. But yeah, I see a great game, great 4:30 game for us to watch here. So it might be game of the week. You know? All right,
Who
all
knows?
right. Next 4:30 game, Packers taking on the Bears today. Of course, no more A-Rod in Green Bay. Is this Chicago's time to take over this rivalry?
No. I'm just going with the team with the better defense here. Both offenses are going to look completely different than they were last year, with Jordan Love now being the quarterback for the Packers. Christian Watson's out, which is good to know. So I think they might try to lean on the run game more. And the Bears were abysmal at defending the run last year, and the Packers have two very viable running backs in Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. For the Bears, I mean DJ Moore's there now to give Justin Fields a true number one. They've improved on the offensive line, but the offensive line through training camp has been getting shaken up a bit. They've been making improvements to the defense, but I still don't think it's anywhere close to being on a level to compete on a weekly basis. Um, I kind of like the over in this game. For some reason, it feels kind of low for a divisional game like this. I think the Bears' offense can be explosive at times, but I also think the same thing about the Packers' offense. I'm kind of high on Jordan Love, but I'm gonna take the Packers to win this game.
All right, I can't disagree. I mean, obviously, this Bears ran through Justin Fields. Um, but did they get any better? Like an extreme amount better than last year. Well, they have 3 wins last year. I think their total is up to 6.5, or win total 7.5. It's just
Yeah, they finished with 3 last year.
a little overreaction on the DJ Moore aspect of this pickup for them. Obviously it's going to be better than what they had last year, right? He's better than what they've had in wide receiver weapons in the past. Probably the best weapon they've had in offense since Brandon Marshall in this Bears organization. But does this mean that they're all of a sudden just this great team on offense and maybe even worse on defense? Like, what have they done on defense to get this team to where it needs to be, especially in the run game?
They got Tremaine Edmonds. That's about it. Like their secondary, I still think is terrible, and
Yeah, it's
they don't
shaky.
have any. They don't have anything really on a pass rush. They just signed like Yannick Ngakoue, but that's not like a needle mover, in
Yeah,
my
it's
opinion.
not it's not it's not a move for me on getting better at all. So I'm gonna lean the coaching advantage. I'm gonna lean the defensive advantage, and I think I'm gonna go with the Packers here as a short dog in this divisional matchup. Sneaky take. Packers are my pick to win the division for the two same reasons I just told you. Best coach in the division, best defense in the division. Yes, I know. And Shane, hey, do you see the Lions beat the Chiefs on Thursday? You see that?
Oh, that was a game and a
Oh,
half.
must be Super Bowl favorites now. But yeah, I still think Packers win the division. Like I said, Matt LaFleur, best coach in that league, in that division. No, it's not Dan Campbell. I'm sorry. Going forward on a 4th and 1 in your own 30 is not going to work out probably 25% of the time. So, no, I'm not a Dan Campbell guy. I am a Matt LaFleur guy. I'm a defensive guy with the Packers. So I'm going to ride with them today at +1, and that value on the money line, too. All right. We have another divisional battle. The Rams taking on the Seahawks today. This line jumped around from 5.5. I think it's at 5 right now. Let's see what we got for numbers here. Rams come in as a public favorite here today. Actually, a lot of sharp money on Seattle here as it drops to 4.5 on BetGM. 87% of the money, 32% of the bets. Sorry, 32% of the bets, 32% of the money, 87% of the bets on the Rams, which would mean they're public. Seattle getting close to 70% of the money, but only 13% of the bets at the spread at -4.5, -5.
Yeah, give me the Seahawks. And I also like the over in this game. I think there could be a lot of potential for points. Like the Seahawks alone could put up like 30 something against this Rams defense. We wouldn't be surprised. They add JSN to the offense. A lot of their rookies who played well last year have a whole nother offseason to work on improving. They still have Metcalf. They still have Lockett. Kenneth Walker's playing. They've been making some improvements to the defense, even though their run defense I think is going to be really suspect this year. Um, which would open up Cam Akers on the other side. I feel like the offense for the Rams is going to run through Cam Akers and Tyler Higbee, especially with Cooper Kupp not there. He's not going to be there for the first month at least, which might make it kind of hard to game plan for because if the Cooper Kupp is there, it's like, okay, just focus on Cooper Kupp and do whatever. But now that it's not there, they kind of have to spread out more, which could leave more things open for the Rams. I don't think Matt Stafford's completely shot. Everybody thinks he's shot because he got injured last year and had like Tommy John surgery or whatever. Um, I don't think he's completely dead, even though the reports of him not being able to recognize the faces of his receivers and needed like pictures of them or whatever. I don't know how extreme that is, but I think the Seahawks and playing in Seattle, it's one of the most difficult places to play in the NFL. Big
Yep.
home field advantage for the Seahawks, especially on opening day. Uh, Geno Smith, I think, is going to cook this week. He has no reason not to. This might be the worst secondary in the NFL.
Maybe worst defense in NFL.
Yeah, wouldn't be shocked if Aaron Donald gets shipped off midseason because I think they're going to eventually go into the full rebuild thing. They bought a Super Bowl ring pretty much, and now they have to pay for what they did with the Jalen Ramsey and all that. Yeah, I love the Seahawks in this game.
Okay. Again, another divisional game with a bunch of points for the dog here. I'm just worried. Obviously the Rams, like Shane said, they're in a tough spot. They're stuck in cap space situation. You got no defense, and now you got no cup. I don't see any way, shape, or form how this Rams team wins today. I really don't. You're in Seattle. You have a shit ton of momentum from last year for Seattle. Geno Smith's got some confidence. He's got some major weapons on offense that I love personally. DK, Lockett, chain touchdown, JSN, and he's still got Noah Fant there too. So they got four really good options for him there in the throwing options. And I don't see how this team keeps it close. I really don't. If it's ground and pound, Cam Akers in that O line, not the way I like to get this team a W here in this situation. And if you're going to lean on Stafford again, who are you throwing to? Van Jefferson, Tyler Higbee are your options there. And what, Tutu Atwell?
Puka Nakua, rookie receiver.
Puka Nakua. Yeah, not liking those options too much for Stafford coming off an injury. So I lean the Seahawks pretty heavily here. Again, I can't lay these bigger lines in week one. If this is more of a 3.5 point line, maybe, but 5.5 and basically win by a touchdown. Staying off the game completely, but I like the Seahawks here to get a comfortable one. So, alrighty, Vegas taking on Denver here in a spot where Raiders have dominated this Broncos team as of late. Money wise, we get into this one. The public, loves the Raiders, and I don't really blame them. Sitting at plus 3.5, this line dropped from 4.5 to 3.5. Shane, I think you got some nice stats for this one.
Raiders have won the last 6 games against the Broncos and have won 8 of the last 10.
Yeah, that's pretty shitty. Pretty shitty. Obviously, a lot of hype for this one coming in. Sean Payton's first game back in the NFL, with Russell Wilson. I obviously know Jerry Jeudy. So you got Cortland Sutton, getting the ball here for number one targets. On the other side, obviously Jimmy G's first game with the Raiders with Devontae. Question marks there as well. Josh Jacobs now playing for a contract next year. I'm really shocked I'm saying this, but I like the Raiders. I
I
do.
think the Raiders are going to run the hell out of the football, and
I can see that.
because
Yeah,
Josh
because
Jacobs
why?
went
Because
for
why
over
would?
100 in both games last year. I see a very similar thing.
Yeah, because why would McDaniels want to go up against the secondary? Why force it? So I think his options are Patriots offense. Screenplays. Check downs. In the slots. Devontae will probably be in the slot for a lot today. I think too. Um, and the running game, Jacobs out of the backfield. Probably getting 10 to 20 carries today as a workhorse. So I like the Broncos straight up here. I know Denver's a tough place to play. The line obviously is giving an advantage to Denver because they're in Denver, which I get. But I think the Raiders have much more going for them than the Broncos do today. Raiders coming healthy. Jimmy G's healthy. Jacobs healthy. Devontae Adams is there too. And on the other side, Broncos, you getting Javonte Williams back off a 2-month ACL repair somehow, and no Jerry Jeudy. So I'm gonna lean the points here at the Raiders and sprinkle the money line as well.
Yes.
Alrighty. Sunday night football. Shane's Dallas. I'm sorry. Shane's Giants taking on the Dallas Cowboys today at MetLife, or tonight I should say MetLife. Giants come in as 3.5-point dogs. It's dropped to 3 on DraftKings. Public all over the Cowboys. One of the biggest public sides is the Cowboys tonight at -3. 90% of the money, 90% of the bets on the Cowboys here, laying the points on the road in MetLife.
I have two stats to say, and this is just all I'm going to comment on this game tonight. Dak Prescott is 10-1 against the Giants in his career, and Daniel Jones is 1-10 in prime time. Cowboys.
Coming from a Giants fan, right? Coming from a Giants fan. I get it. I get what you're saying. You've seen it. You've watched it all. You've seen Dak, play against this team pretty well. But there's a but. We saw the Giants cover these games last year. 3-1 ATS is a home dog last year with Daniel Jones. I believe they're the best dog covering team in the league last year, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see, they were 11-3 against the spread as dogs in 2022, which is insane. Covering the last 5 games, 4 of the last 5, including against Philly, Minnesota, and Dallas as a 2-point dog in Giants. In Dallas, I'm sorry, last year. So I kind of lean the home squad here at 3.5. Again, divisional. Why are you shaking your
Nope,
head,
I
Shane?
can't
Let
do
me
it.
let me speak.
I can't do
Divisional
it.
divisional home dogs of getting plus 3.5 or more cover about 60% of the clip last year. I know you're a Giants fan. I know you've seen it all. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a huge Giants fan of their football team myself this year. But you got two aspects of this, right? You got Giants coming in, a whole bunch of momentum off last year. Cowboys come in, bunch of pressure on this team to do something this year. If not, it's probably Dak's last stint in Dallas. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, I don't think you trade for Trey Lance in that spot.
This is probably it if he doesn't do something with this team, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so the pressure's on Dak, pressure's on McCarthy to do something here in week one, not in week one, but the whole season. Probably an NFC championship is probably the limit for this team, for expectations wise. Um, I like the Giants, man. I do. I love the defensive side of the ball. I think Daniel Jones with his legs is going to expose some of this linebacker core that's kind of suspect for me in the Cowboys. And I like them, man. I like them as a favorite. My line says Giants by 1. Giants by 1. So I'm laying the money line here. I like the spread. Obviously, if I take the money line, but Give me the 3.5, and I'm gonna spring on the money line. Upset alert on Sunday Night Football tonight.
Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do
All right,
it.
well you can root for the Giants and root for me in my take, but
Obviously, I'm going to root for the Giants. My
yeah.
expectations are not there.
And shame on me for not diving into more, Sunday Night Football stats and trends, but unders are always good in prime time. We saw it on
Yeah.
Thursday's game. We had the under there at 50, 51, no 53, yeah 53. That was an easy winner for that too. This Giants game, sharps I believe are on the under. It's kind of slim actually. 51% of the money on the under. 49% of the bets on the over 45. The public will more likely be on the over come kickoff time, as they mostly are. Again, man, coaching advantage too. And I'm gonna say it. Dable is a better coach than Mike McCarthy. New OC for the Cowboys. Same system for the Giants. Most of the guys coming back with Darren Waller added to that, with Saquon back fully healthy, ready to go. Calling the upset. Giants money line. Let's get it. I think Dallas rolls into this year kind of on some soft toes, getting off a week 1 loss. All right, Monday Night Football. Jets and the Bills. Maybe the best game in week 1. I think we said that about 4 times today. The Christmas tree show, as I like to call it. The Bills and the Jets. Now, if they wore their red jerseys and the green jerseys on this game, that'd be splendid. But they're not going to do that, of course. That'd be too fun.
No.
Bills come in as 2.5-point favorites. Jets at plus 2.5, getting about 60-60 of the bets in the money percentages. Sharp money on the Jets money line tomorrow night. I'm sure these will change as today's slate goes by. I know you're not a huge believer in this Jets team in year 1, which I understand. But do you see them keeping it close on Monday night with the Bills team?
No. I think there's going to be growing pains for this offense. I don't like both these defenses are good. First off, both these defenses have potential to be top 5 in the NFL. So that, along with, I opened up DraftKings and saw there was a promotion for Rodgers and Allen to combine for 3+ passing touchdowns. Yeah, screaming the under already, just off of that. I don't know. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is just going to come out guns blazing week 1, even though they're at home against Buffalo. I think there's a streak. It's like at least 22 games in a row where Aaron Rodgers hasn't thrown for like 250 yards or something.
Okay.
So I think the Jets are probably going to want to lean a lot on running the ball, but I think the Bills have a good enough defense to be able to stop the run. And then if it's forced to pass, it's Garrett Wilson, then who else? Alan Lazard. Is anybody scared of Alan Lazard?
I like him.
Tyler Conklin?
Not bad.
Randall Cobb?
He's old, but not bad.
Yeah, but I'm not really worried about the Jets as of right now, but there's a move I'm predicting them to make at some point in the season which could make them a lot scarier. Mike Evans.
Ooh.
I think they've been making a lot of money to do something, and Mike Evans is going to be done in Tampa, so they might try to get some value for him.
Awesome.
I feel like Josh Allen in week 1's just dialed in as well. Adding another weapon to the offense in Kincaid. Diggs is still there. He's going to get his healthy targets, even though he'll probably have Sauce on him shadowing the whole game. I don't know. I'm just going to take what I think is the better overall team, the Bills here.
Okay. So looking at this game, the Bills team, since drafting Josh Allen, this is the lowest spread that they've had in a divisional matchup on the road as favorites in his career. Usually they're 3, 4, 5, 6.7 favorites. This is at 2.5. And I think it's there for a reason. And this line hasn't moved much at all, to be honest with you. Surprisingly, the Bills aren't higher at 3.5, 4-point favorites, which would probably lean me more towards the Bills. But in this one, I'm taking the Jets. I'm taking the dog on prime time. Home divisional dog at home in prime time. Rogers is fired up to be in this year. He's ready to go. He's pumped up. He says the most fun he's had on the team in a long time is a shot at the Packers. But he's ready to go. This defense is stacked. Okay, stacked and ready to hit Josh now wherever it takes to get him down. And I think it's going to be a brutal night for this Bills offense. I think we saw some controversy with Stephon and the play calling. I think that plays a factor this season. I think this defense gets a couple turnovers off Josh Allen. If that's a fumble or if that's a forced pick, which he's known to do, which I'm not a fan of him. I like the dog here. I like the value that Rogers is a home dog at week one. He's everyone's healthy, everyone's good to go. Dalvin Cook's good. Bryce Hall back. Um, I'm taking the points here. I'm taking the money line on prime time. And of course, a prime time under, of course, but
Yeah.
I see Jets by a field goal. I have Jets. Same thing. It's the same thing as the Giants. I have Jets as a 1 point favorite here at home. So I'm taking the Jets here. I'm not a Josh Allen guy. I think in the bright lights he sometimes shrinks too in turnovers. So I think this defense takes a hold of him, shuts him down. I think Rodgers pulls away here late in the third, early in the fourth, and gets the job done for him. All right. It's time for Shane's starts and sits fantasy report. Shane, what do you got for the people?
All right, so I want to keep this kind of quick so we can get rolling because kickoff's in about an hour. For quarterbacks, I love Geno Smith and Kirk Cousins in two games that I think the over is going to smash on. Both have big weapons going against weak defenses. I think that's safe to say. Like, if you have to make a decision between like Deshaun Watson and one of these guys, I'd go with them over Deshaun Watson. Because we don't really know what we're getting with Deshaun Watson yet. It's more of a wait and see thing. For running backs, I have Raheem Mostert and J.K. Dobbins as my main two starters. J.K. Dobbins on a almost 10-point spread. I think the Ravens might look to run the ball a lot once they're up. Raheem Mostert, main running back for the Dolphins. No one really back there to compete with him besides like Chris Brooks. Most of you couldn't even tell me who Chris Brooks is, so I like Raheem Mostert. Wide receiver, Cortland Sutton, because there's really no other option with Judy being shaken up. I like Jahan Dotson for the Commanders because of Terry McLaurin's coming off of having turf toe. I don't know if he's going to be fully ready for week one here. Chris Godwin, I like. He's going to be, I think, the favorite option for Baker Mayfield, and again, another high-scoring game. For tight end, especially if you did not, or like all the big names are out. You got Mark Andrews out. You got Travis Kelce, who was just out. A lot of people I like in that middle tier, like Tyler Higbee, is going to be the main option for the Rams. Juwan Johnson, big touchdown threat for the Saints against the Titans. Gerald Everett. Herbert has shown a kind of like to him at home. Everett plays well at home and terrible on the road, so it helps that the Chargers are at home. Isaiah Likely, especially if you had Mark Andrews, just go pick him up as a little replacement there in that offense. For defenses that I like, the Ravens and the Saints, I both like. I don't think either of those games are going to be like crazy scoring. Saints have a good defense overall, even though they couldn't bring a lot of pass rush last year, and the Ravens playing against CJ Stroud at home. And then for sits, my main sit is just Deshaun Watson. You got to take a wait and see approach with Deshaun Watson. We don't know what version of him we're getting, and he's playing against the Bengals. See it as a very run-heavy game for the Browns, which would mean a lot of Nick Chubb action. Maybe your boy Pierre Strong gets involved a little bit. For running backs, Antonio Gibson, I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. He's just so inconsistent. Any Philadelphia Eagles running back, because they've counted 5 running backs as their starter this year. 5. They have not listed a full starter. And you have to wait and see what's going to happen with that backfield. A lot of people think it's just going to be Swift show to run, and they're going to try to see if he can actually do it. But I feel like if they were to do that, they would have just named him the starter and not have people like Kenneth Gainwell and Boston Scott be listed also as starters. And then Breece Hall's another wait and see thing. He's coming off of a torn ACL from last year. They signed Dalvin Cook, and Dalvin Cook's full and ready to go. So I think beginning part of the season, they're going to try to ease Breece Hall in. So expect more Dalvin Cook than Brees Hall early. Sits for wide receiver Gabe Davis. I'm never been a Gabe Davis fan, never have, never will. They just added Dalton Kincaid, which is going to take even more receptions away from him. They still have Dawson Knox. They still have Diggs. They have James Cook out of the backfield. He's going to have DJ Reed probably on him, and DJ Reed was arguably a top 5 corner last year, and I don't trust him to be able to be him consistently. Odell's a sit. He hasn't played football in like 2 years, and there's too much target competition in that game. And if they're up a lot, they're just going to run the ball. So I don't really like Odell at all this year, but I especially sit him here. And Jacoby Myers is a sit. I out of the three main receivers for the Raiders, and we were talking about how they're going to utilize the slot a lot. I think he's even though he's a main slot guy, I think he's the least likely to end up there. You have Devontae Adams and Hunter Renfro
Yep.
like on that team, and Hunter Renfro is built perfectly for the slot. Jacoby Myers is at least like a little bit bigger, so he could go outside. And then if they want to use Devontae in the slot, I mean Devontae's just going to cook anybody. For tight ends, Dalton Schultz, you can sit down, kid. You're playing the Ravens. You're gonna have Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen on you all game. It's not gonna be a fun one. Dalton Kincaid is a sit because I don't know how they're gonna utilize him. They've been talking about using him in the slot, and they still have Dawson Knox. I don't know how much of a snap share he's gonna get, even though he's been getting good reactions out of camp. I want to wait and see. Greg Dulcich sit. He's not even the starter on his team anymore because Sean Payton traded for Adam Troutman. Even in the preseason, he was playing like 40% less snaps than Adam Troutman, which I would see as an issue. And people were drafting Greg Dulcich to be this breakout. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. It's the Albert Okwebunam effect. Remember Albert O? Everybody was high on him because Russell Wilson was popping up, and then he ended up being a non-factor. Defense is not the play. The main one's the Vikings. Even though he's playing against Baker Mayfield, I see a lot of points in that game.
All right. Good stuff, Shane. Good stuff. All right. I think it's now time to get in some free picks. As we close out the show. Shane, you put this list together for us. We're gonna hop right into this one right now. Let's see where we at.
All right, I'll just kick it off at the top. TJ Hawkinson over 4.5 receptions. He's the number 2 option in this offense, and I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. We've been over that a bunch.
Yep.
He averaged 8 targets per game for the Vikings last season. So once he got traded, he was averaging 8 targets a game. He just has to catch a little over half of those this game to be able to do that. And Tampa plays a lot of too high safeties, which leaves the middle of the field wide open. And where does TJ Hawkinson operate from? The middle of the field. So this just seems like a smash at almost like plus money at this point. Excuse me. Nick Chubb over 75 over 75 and a half rushing yards.
Quick set break.
Yeah. Nick Chubb has hit over 75 and a half in 6 out of the 9 total games he's played against the Bengals. He's still arguably the best pure runner in the NFL. Him and Derrick Henry's probably 1 and 2, depending on how you want to look at it. And I see the Browns not wanting to force.
Hold on a minute. I need a break, man. That was fucking hilarious. I can't get over myself. Oh, man, that was fucking great.
Dude, I needed a drink. Calm down.
Keep going.
I don't see the Browns forcing Deshaun Watson to throw the ball out this first game. So I think the Browns are going to lean on the run game. Nick Chubb's a perennial 1,500+ yard rusher a season, so lean on him. Miles Sanders over 56.5 rushing yards. Rookie quarterbacks, what do they love to do? Lean on the run game. Miles Sanders is going to be a workhorse in this backfield. Frank Reich's there, who helped, somebody from Penn State is there now. I think it's their OC, and he worked with Miles Sanders a lot, and they've been talking about wanting to use him in this huge workhorse RB type thing. He was the RB 11 last year in fantasy, if that helps you at all. He's definitely a start this week because I think they're going to lean a lot on the run, and he's going to be a dump off option. The Falcons' weakness is their like linebacking core. So if he can get past like the defensive line, their linebacking core is like Troy Anderson is the best linebacker. So it's going to be hard for Sanders not to hit this number. It's probably the lowest we're going to see it, which is the same thing with this Jalen Hurts line. Jalen Hurts over 41.5 rushing yards. Patriots suck against mobile quarterbacks.
Watch your
Uh,
mouth.
I mean, do you want me to mention what Justin Fields did to you in prime
I
time?
don't agree. I don't disagree.
Um, I think this is the lowest we're going to see this number for Jalen Hurts. So it's better to jump on the number when it's low than wait for it to get to high and then start to bet it. Um, Eagles are definitely a run first team, and I think they're going to look to try to use Jalen Hurts a lot and try to limit his throwing against the Patriots defense because they're still strong on the defensive side of the ball, but the way to stop him is being mobile as a quarterback. And then Darren Waller over 48.5 receiving yards. He's a clear number one in this passing game. Got a little bit scared because he had that little debacle being questionable, but
Hamstring, right?
it's looking like yeah, but it's looking like he's clear to go. It doesn't really look like it's
Why is it
bothering him that
always
much.
a hammy? With every year, it's the same thing with him. Hamstring every year.
I mean, when you have
Like
a history of issues down there,
someone stretch him out. I know a
oh
really good guy who can stretch him out.
yeah,
Yes, and I think he's
all right.
watching right now. We gotta get some stretching over in New York for Darren Waller. Every goddamn week, it's a freaking hamstring. Every
I mean,
week.
he's been hooping in the off season though, and in preseason.
Not good for
And
the
Dallas,
hammies.
yeah, Dallas's main weakness on their defense is the linebacking core, which is going to be guarding Darren Waller, and I don't think they're going to really be able to defend Darren Waller unless they start double teaming him every play. But even with that, I still think he's going to be a problem for this Cowboys defense. Those are the free boys.
Awesome. Great stuff. That looks like a 5-0 card to me, Shane, right there.
You're damn right.
Looks like a 5-0 card. Looks like a sweep. All right. Before we head out, Shane, got anything else for the people? Any hot takes we got heading into week 1?
A lot of these dogs are going to win this week, straight up. I think I had 7
I agree.
dogs winning. Straight up,
I
even the
tend to
Cardinals and the
agree.
Colts I had, but and this is the most unpredictable week of the year. So don't be like surprised if like a team gets upset in week 1. There's like nothing to really go off of. This is like this and week 2 are really feel it out weeks because
Yep.
this week 1, if you see somebody go off, it could just be an outlier, and the next week they're not even used. We've seen that happen before. Sammy Watkins is a perfect example of that. He always goes off in week 1 and then disappears for the rest of the year. So take week 1 with a grain of salt. We need to see multiple weeks of how teams run to actually get a feel for them.
Alrighty. Well, you got 50 minutes till kickoff here. What happened? Breaking
Rashad
news.
Penny expected to be a healthy scratch.
Oh no, not
Oh no, they're
Rashad.
only 4 running backs now in that backfield. Oh no.
Breaking news: Rashad Penny not playing today. If you have him in
What
your
a
fantasy lineup,
surprise.
but I hope you don't start him.
Don't start any Eagles running backs this week. There's your answer.
Yes. There you go. All right. Great show. Great week 1, Shane. Got about 15 minutes till kickoff here. And we'll be here every Sunday through February. 11 a.m. Eastern time for a good hour and 15 minutes, talking fantasy, free picks, going over every single game with analysis. We'll catch you guys back next Sunday at 11 a.m.